Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you. Today we have a new guest, Rachel. Thank you for joining. Rachel is now driving, so we'll not have her video on. The way we usually begin is by updates as to how we've been, what we've been up to over the past week. And we go according to the almost alphabetical order that we get off of Zoom. And the order is now here in the chat. And I think the first one is myself. I am excited about learning about sprayed edges and the fact that you can do it in your garage. It's kind of a DIY for now, but I am hoping in newer additions in the future to actually have proper foiled edges and other edges. But for now, just to kind of have another tier, I think that's one of the things that I learned from the last meeting, just another tier, something that makes it a little bit more interesting. And we have progressed with a video for this upcoming campaign. Thanks to Destiny and Bernadette, we've been really moving forward. We don't have much to show yet, but I am promising that next week I'll have the video, some draft of the video to show. And that's all from me. Corey, how are you doing?
I'm good. My goal for last week was to finish writing the bonus novella and to complete all the formatting. I did finish the novella, but I have not completed all the formatting. I'm working on that today. So things are moving along. And I'm happy to have gotten that piece done because it's kind of like the last big piece besides ordering and shipping. So
Great. Well, how did it feel to finish that novella?
good. Yeah, good. It always feels a little bit like, okay, check the box and on to the next thing. I'm
Yeah,
not very good at taking time
celebrating.
to appreciate and celebrate. But yeah, I'm glad to be done with it. And I think it came out well. Came out longer than I expected it to be. It's about 15,000 words instead of 10,000, but par for the course apparently.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Corey. Richard, how has your week been?
Well, things are moving. I'm doing a lot more research. You were talking about all the sprayed edges and stuff. And I wanted to ask if anyone had heard of a company in the US that does it called Sheridan. Has anybody ever heard of them or used them?
What was the name, Richard?
Sheridan. They have probably 10 plants east of the Mississippi, uh, through Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri, and 5 other ones further east. I don't think they've ever caught the eye of independent authors because their minimum is a little high. You would probably have to have 200 units, but they do. They have videos on their website of the machinery that they have, and their sprayed edge video everyone should watch.
Send it to us.
They bundle a whole bunch of books, probably 3 feet wide, and they put them in a vise. It goes into a sealed chamber where there's a fixed print head, and it's inkjet printed, and it does all 3 sides in maybe, I don't know, 8 seconds.
I'd love to.
And it's done 6 or 8 books in 6 or 8 seconds, all 3 sides, and it's anything you want. It's inkjet. You just create the file, and it will print it on your edges. And it does the foil stamping on the covers. They do all of the custom end papers. They'll do everything that Book Vault will do in this country. The downside, though, is their minimums are higher.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Let us know how that unfolds. Good.
Well, I would love to be in a position where I had the demand for 200
Well,
copies.
it's going to happen.
Um,
Richard,
but I've
did
been
you
working.
actually Richard, did you actually speak to them about that? Did you ask them whether they would be willing to go under 200 copies for a
I
smaller
did speak
print run?
to one of the reps, but I did not speak that they don't do everything in every plant.
Hmm.
They'll
Okay.
have, this machine in this specialty in this plant, another machine, another specialty. And she suggested that I speak to some people in the plant that has the sprayed edge machine.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
I have not done that, but I did talk to her about it. And the minimums are the way she talked, they're pretty much cast in stone.
Okay.
Um, and it's a shame because they've got all of the machines here. But I think their emphasis is not independent authors like Book Vault. They do 10,000 catalogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
But I do have a question.
So
I
let's
have created.
in a second, Richard, when we'll do the
Okay.
actual, then I would love to hear, and we would love to give you as much as stage as needed. Thank you, Richard. Bernadette, how has your week been? It's so great to see you.
Well, good to see everybody as well. This week has been really productive for the Kickstarter team, the YBT Kickstarter team. Destiny and I and Belonley have been working real hard. We have some bookmark ideas, and the great thing about that, that you probably saw on the agenda, is that it also works great for oval stickers. If you decided you wanted to go that route, that was actually something I was going to put in the agenda to recommend to you. Um, so these images, they're coming along.
Great. Well done. Thank you, Bernadette, and it's great to have you here. Cody, how has your week been?
It's been pretty good. I've been doing a lot of research, especially on hardcover options, and I looked at like four different printers, all ones that were able to do kind of, foiling or nice dust jackets, edge printing, and all of that. And the range of like per book costs was from around $28 to 37, with Book Vault coming in at like the best value. So that was Book Vault UK, so you have to factor in shipping, but even with that, it was still a deal. So it looks like I've settled on a vendor now. My call with the cover designer got postponed, so I'm gonna talk to him on Monday, and he's excited about doing like fun stuff with foiling and edge printing. And other than that, I'm kind of stuck in limbo on my project. I can't share a pre-launch page yet.
Yeah, what's going on with them? What's going on with them?
The support, I reached out through support kind of normal channels, and they came back saying, "Oh, you have to get this approved first." And I was like, "Well, I've had a campaign successful already, and it says that I don't need to get it approved first." So that was kind of a disappointing response. I kind of escalated one step, but I'll probably keep doing that until, I get like a real response. But yeah, I can't show a pre-launch page yet, so I'm getting a little nervous about the timeline.
I'm crossing my fingers that there will be some good news very soon.
Thanks. The one other thing that I'm looking at now, because I didn't think of it before, was like, do I want to offer some special features for the paperback? Foiling, edge printing, that type of stuff. So I'm gonna go and price those out soon and see what's possible for those as well.
Right. And with Book Vault, we are factoring the shipping, and it's still cheaper. Are there any tariffs? Are there any additional weird taxes?
From what I could see, no. The one other vendor that looked like maybe it was price competitive with Book Vault was Mixam, but it looked like maybe some of like they didn't do edge printing, so it's not fully like apples to apples comparison. Um, but looking at it all, like it did seem like there's a reason why so many people go with Book Vault. And the one thing I heard to avoid is that a lot of people getting printed end papers had those cracking. So it's better off to go with like not printing those and still having a nice experience.
Can you elaborate just 1 minute about the end papers?
So that would be like the first few pages, I think, in the front and the back
Yeah,
being of like a colored paper. Oh, Corey's
yeah,
got it.
that's great.
Corey,
Eh,
did yours
yeah.
have any cracking?
Sorry,
Your
you're still on mute.
Like, there's a tiny bit down. You can't even really see it in the camera here. There's a tiny, tiny bit down in here. But I actually ordered this several months ago before a lot of people were reporting that there was a problem with
oh,
the cracking. So I don't think it's that bad, especially, when you open a book a bunch of times, it's kind of inevitable that it will happen. But obviously, I would be upset if I were to order from all of my copies from Book Vault. But yeah, this one came from Book Vault. This is the gold foiling on the cover, which I
that's
think
great.
looks really nice.
Stunning.
And that's the sprayed edges. They can do all the sides in basically any design that you want.
And the spray
Um,
is also in metal, like also in gold and silver, or is it just in color?
like it's gold color, but it's not like foiled
Right.
that way. There are a couple of other different options. There's things like forced edges where it's like you actually print the color on the very edge of the page, and that
Mm.
does something. So like some people have had success sort of faking sprayed edges that way and using a printer like Mixam, but that seems I can't even fathom how complicated that seems. Like that's not a formatting challenge that I'm willing to take on. Um, but yeah, so this is kind of like so I ordered these from Book Vault. The thing they couldn't do for me was a double-sided book cover.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I actually ordered these from Book Vault without covers, and then I ordered the covers separately from a different company.
Hmm.
So,
Have you done
which is
anything?
unfortunate. Go ahead.
Oh, have you done anything special for your paperbacks?
I haven't gotten, but so my paperbacks will have sprayed edges, but that's it. And maybe the gold foiling on the cover. I can't remember what I promised, but I didn't order a proof copy of the paperback. I just put it in. Um,
Yeah.
and I haven't priced whether I can get paperbacks also from Book Vault or whether I want to do that from a different printer. I'll probably end up doing all of it from Book Vault just for like sanity's sake, but
Yeah, which is important.
like yeah, so and they'll have the files and they'll have everything formatted and everything, and so that I know that sometimes it's like I've run into problems with other printers with them needing a very specific formatting thing,
Yeah.
and that being having to go back and forth on that. So I also printed. These are from my previous Kickstarter, and these were Mixam, but they couldn't do the sprayed edges. So these are the Mixam paperbacks. They're nice quality. They're good size. They did color printing, which came out nice.
Oh, wow.
So
Looks great.
yeah, and they did for my previous Kickstarter, I did like a special format where it's like here's book one, and then you flip it over, and here's book two. So it's like two books kind of upside down from each other. And Mixam was the only company I could find that was willing to print it this way, which turned out to be a huge pain in the ass. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but they were the only ones who could do that. So
Great. What was the response from the readers, from the users of the flipped copy? Was it like a cool thing, or like what was the response from the actual user experience? And I think you went back on mute.
um the I didn't get a lot of like direct feedback from people who had ordered from the Kickstarter. Nobody like emailed me about it or anything. But it's like I heard from other people that like, yeah, it has a good like hand feel. And then the flip thing is fun, but it doesn't like I found it to be really difficult to explain in the Kickstarter, like
Yeah.
in my pictures and in my language and all of that.
Do
And like,
you have a few more copies of this one, of the flipped one?
mhm,
I've
mhm,
been really studying TikTok a lot and
mhm.
gimmicks and weird video things, like they're so weird, like about like the things that are becoming popular there. It's very visual, and I have a sense that if you went on TikTok with this, it has the potential of some viral quality. I just wanted to share that.
No, I think that's a great point. One of my goals for next year is to really tackle social media again. I've kind of backed off from social media the past few years, but that's something I think I need to approach more aggressively. So yeah, that's a good point. That's something to think about.
Great.
So
Perfect. Thank you. Next is Destiny, then Teresa, and finally Rachel. Destiny, how's your week been?
My week's been amazing. I went to a wedding and a zoo and a pen of 3 days. Lovely times. But also, I have something to announce that is in the event that you're going to see tonight is we have inserted the rough draft of the video into Kickstarter. Now, be it the rough draft, so be it as it may, rough drafting, and we have the tunnel as the banner now, and the tunnel as the reward images. We are going to tweak the reward images to match, like the rewards properly, coming later on. We have tweaked it for the golden plate edges and tweaked it for the black plate edges. So if you wanted to show them these test title, you can. It's ready for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'd like to review it personally before, but yeah, we'll definitely next Friday. But well done. And Wedding plus a Zoo sounds really fun. So congratulations. Next is Teresa. Teresa, how has your week been?
Good. I have to turn my audio on. It's been good. It's been busy. I've got this ghostwriting project that I'm finishing up, so I didn't get as much done on my stuff as I wanted to because they changed the plot developer. Been a bit of a challenge, but other than that, it's been really good, and I'm working on the formatting, and I've got some questions later about Vellum. I use Atticus because I'm a PC, but I've got questions later about the different formatting because Atticus right now I just want to punch it in the face. But other than that, that's good. I've been pulling the images together. I'm about 68% of my surveys completed. And I just sent those out on Tuesday, so I'm doing okay. So John, I still need yours. So, but yeah, I'm just pretty happy things are plugging along, and I'm at 15 followers on my pre-launch page, so I'm pretty
Oh,
happy with
that's a
that.
lot. That's a lot. That's very wise. Very good. Well done. Bonus travel articles.
No, I'm working on those because I realized what I want to do is go through and I printed out all 3 books and I'm editing them and annotating them so that for the next Kickstarter, I'm going to offer that as one of the big tiers, is like annotated copies, my annotations. Because I thought if I'm going to go through them, then I want to edit as well. I mean, I've got to reread it so I can write the article because it's been long enough. Um, yeah, so that's the status on that.
That sounds so smart. I would love if when you share your screen soon and as we talk about formatting, I would love to look into what you have in mind for the annotated version. Very curious. Very curious. That's great. Thank you, Teresa. Last but not least, our new member, Rachel. Rachel, thank you for joining. If you can introduce yourself, say what attracted you to this group, and we understand that you are driving, so let's see if you can do this.
I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you so much. And thank you for being patient with the driving. There's a likely the driving mode thing that makes it easy to unmute. So thank you guys. I've been following along with the Kickstarter cohort since April. And I think I just didn't realize that you guys were meeting and that you could join even if you didn't have the page live yet, which is I think what I thought you had to do. So I'm really glad to be here. So thank you. So I write in fantasy and I am launching my debut full-length novel on Kickstarter with the Kickstarter cohort. My plan right now is to have the launch page be like between like October 27th and like November 1st. and then have it run through the Reader Nation and then a little bit after, so it kind of sandwiches the conference. And where I'm at in the production of things right now, so my draft is still with my editor, and I've been working on the Kickstarter page. I just started pricing out kind of like the printing, and not doing much that's too fancy yet. Although the whole thing of like I could, potentially do sprayed edges at home seems really exciting as a potential option. But even if I don't do any of those, I think it'll still be. I'm still looking forward to launching, I guess. So yeah, does that answer your question? Is there anything
That's
else I should
beautiful.
say to
Yeah,
introduce myself?
that's beautiful, and thank you so much for sharing. And it sounds, we'd love to hear more in the future about what type of fantasy. Do you have or do you plan to have a pre-launch page on Kickstarter even before October?
Yeah, so that's what I'm aiming to do that. So that's why I've been trying to get the kind of get like enough of the full page up to have it reviewed sometime this week is my goal. And so I've got most of the visuals done, like the banners with like the section headers. I have a draft of like the story, and I just need like to figure out things like, is my editor okay with me putting like a little blurb about the fact that she's my editor and who she is, and things like that to kind of flesh it out. And I also have been debating, like, do I need to try to make character art? Because I know a lot of people have sections about like the characters, and I do some drawing, and that was kind of my plan. But it might, if it's not good, it won't be up on Kickstarter. But
Yeah.
so I think that there's potential for that. So that's my goal, because I'd like to get the pre-launch page up by like mid-September, so it can be up for at least a month before
Yes.
it launches. So yeah.
Yes. And that's how we as a group can support you and hold you accountable. And you'll be surprised that you don't need much for the pre-launch page. Like many of the things that you just mentioned, right, Teresa? Like many of the things that you just mentioned, Rachel, you don't really need to decide, or Teresa, do you mind saying just a word to Rachel about that?
Not at all. Yeah, really, all you need is your banner image, which you can change, your title, and your little blurb subtitle. That's all you need for a pre-launch page. Everything else can be added later. You do need to have something in your reward tiers for your items and reward tiers, but it could just be ebook, paperback as your items, and then create a tier for ebook and then one for paperback. And you do need to have some of your story filled out because they need to approve it first if it's your first campaign, or if you're Cody, sorry. But other than that, you really don't need much of anything else. Just the banner, the title, and the subtitle.
Perfect. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
That's so helpful to know. I'm like, okay, cool. Monday I'll be able to submit that.
Yeah. Great. And also, Rachel, I'm pasting in the chat a link to our WhatsApp group, and we'd love to support you there. All right. So with that being said, let's begin to see who wants to share. So it sounds like we have Teresa. Richard, you want to share, right?
Yeah.
Great. So Richard, Teresa, Cody.
I can speak a little about the process of doing sprayed edges at home. I did my own sprayed edges for my previous Kickstarter, so I can talk about that a little bit.
I would love, because it can actually make or break my decision and possibly Rachel's. So yeah, it will be great. It will not make or break Cody's decision because Cody has already made his mind. But yeah, I think we would love to hear. So Teresa, Richard, and we'll finish with Corey. Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay, I don't really need to share my screen because I use Atticus for all my books, but with this omnibus, it's 650 some pages, and Atticus is known for being slow. So I went to the formatting page, to see what it could look like because was adding some images this morning. Went to formatting when we launched the Zoom, and it just now gave me the page numbers. So 26 minutes in, it took to show me that what I have now is 600, and this is a known it's a thing with Atticus, and it's to the point where I am, publishing enough books, and I want to publish even more, that I'm actually considering buying a Mac just so I can use Vellum. So I'm wondering if any of you use Vellum for your formatting, if you've used both, great, and you've got some opinion on them. But if you've used Vellum, what your opinion is?
I use Atticus, and I'll agree that it is buggy as hell. Like, there are a couple things you can do that might speed up that bugginess. Like if you log out, and which will take forever because it'll have to back up all your books, and then log back in. Or you can also like get rid of the cookies. You can use it in your browser rather than in the Atticus app. Those will all make it like a little bit less buggy. But I totally agree with you. It's buggy as hell. Like, yeah. And very annoying. And I hate that you can't like organize your books appropriately. It's very annoying. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just trying to remove because I combined the 3 books into one, and it automatically creates a table of contents for each book. And you can't remove that. You can only say not include it in ebook or print. So it's just there are so many little quirks, and it's I've liked using it, but with all the changes they've made, it's become so frustrating.
Yeah, I have no experience with Vellum, unfortunately. Um, I have used Scrivener in the past, but I don't think Scrivener is capable of doing a lot of the like fancy formatting stuff.
Scrivener
So
fails when it comes to like fancy formatting.
And I've used Word when I've had more complex formatting, because the anthologies I've done, each chapter heading is different because it was for the different states. But then you've got to create the 2 separate files. You've got one for print. So I want to make this as efficient as I possibly can. Well, and I haven't heard the same complaints about Vellum. Cody,
And
you use InDesign? Okay.
Now you use
That enables me to use the same styles for every book in the series, so they all look consistent. Yeah.
Tell us more about InDesign, Cody. How do you know to work with InDesign? And InDesign is like very visual. It's like almost like non-textual. Like how do you like I'm just curious.
It's designed for page layout. So like
Yeah.
that's its purpose. It is really fiddly to learn and work with, but it can be very simple. Like it does all the textual reflowing, and you can set it up so all of your chapter headings create a new page. Like there's a learning curve, but once you get into it, it gives you a lot of flexibility. Like you can make it look however you want. So that's what I use.
Okay. I think that probably that is the best. I will, I'm thinking out loud. Just I don't have. I was stuck in got stuck in Scrivener. I would say that InDesign, because it's Adobe, because it's a big company, and because it really is, being used by so many people, I think it will probably be much faster than any other program, um, and probably much faster than Vellum too. Um, Cody, is InDesign, is it synced on the cloud? Like, can you kind of work online
Yeah,
with?
it's a subscription also. So like there's a hefty price to it. Like I get the whole Adobe suite because I have to use it for video editing, for podcast editing, and for graphics. So like for me it makes sense to just use all of those, but it's they just raise their prices and it's expensive. So if you can go with something that's like a one-off fee and more simple and you don't need it, then I would recommend that.
And I tried using InDesign it was several years ago, and the learning curve was just like, I don't need to do all that.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes the solution is like do exactly what you were doing, but press a random key at the same time. So it's like not intuitive, not at all helpful. It is a pain to work with until you learn it, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teresa, I might suggest reaching out to Atticus support if there's like specific issues that you're having. Like, they were able to help me set up master pages that made it easier for me to put like pick headers on each chapter. So they had a feature I just didn't know it existed. So it like if you reach out to them, they might be able to give you at least something that can help you do it faster. Also, if you might be able to size down your images, like you might want to check how large your images are, because that might be making the file even bigger, and that's why it's taking so long to load and download.
Yeah, because I've actually only added 2 images so far. But I did made them in BookBrush, which is designed, and I used the Atticus formatting in BookBrush, so I would think they would be correctly sized, but that's a good, I will check the size on those. And yeah, I use the master pages. I just think it's slow and I'm not. So I just get really
Yeah,
impatient.
I totally hear you. And it's super repetitive to have to put to like do that for every chapter and whatever. Like I've totally been there. I wish I had a better advice for you.
Teresa, one last thing I would suggest is like maybe recording a video of here's what I need, and then posting it on Upwork or Fiverr with an Atticus person. And maybe it's worth $50 for someone to just like, I don't know. I've done it with a lot of things, like a short video loom, and
Mhm.
it might take longer, but it's not my time. So think about that.
With
Yeah.
that.
I think all of us as authors should not be dealing with all this crap. Okay, this is the manifesto. So we should not be dealing with this. Thank you, Teresa. Do you feel resolved? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think reaching out to Atticus is probably my next step. And I know buying a Mac just so I can use a certain software is a bit extreme. So
And also, also Mac has a learning curve. Have you been using Mac recently in recent years?
nope, never. Actually, not since high school because that was what they
I
gave us in, late high school. No, it was
I
college. College
I
anyway.
know many friends that found it very challenging, the moving.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much, Teresa. Richard.
Yeah, I've got just a couple of questions from those of you that have done an omnibus. Um, and I'm not that familiar with how books are actually put together. I know back in the day, even smaller hardback books were sewn. Um, and I'm not seeing that so much these days. Do you have a problem with a larger book where all of the pages are glued and having them come apart?
I think that there is a limit of like 800 pages or something like that, but usually the quality these days is sufficient. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I would agree. This one is oh, sorry. You do hear stuff like that on like the Kickstarter for authors page, but this is almost 600 pages, and I don't feel like there's any issues with like the glue, and I'm not worried about pages coming out or anything like that. But yeah, it does have, there's a limit to how big they can be. So you'll want to figure out your page count before you decide whether you can do an omnibus.
It'd be just a little bit over 600.
Oh, you should be fine.
Great. Richard, another question?
Well, I'm just I'm thinking the next time I do Kickstarter, it's going to be with an omnibus of my first 2 books. So I've got to do now all of the research. I know nothing about hardcovers, so I've got to work my way through that whole process to where I've got the book, and then I can worry about the Kickstarter.
Richard, can I ask, why would you not do a Kickstarter on your second book instead of an omnibus of the two?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I mean, I didn't do that well with the first book. And
Yeah,
of
but
course, I
it
know
was
it
your
was my
first one.
first, my first rodeo, and I didn't offer anything. What I'm seeing is the really successful campaigns have got something that's unique to the Kickstarter, and you've got to go beyond a paperback and an ebook.
I think that's true.
So, I mean, would it be sufficient to just trick out the second book a little bit? Would that help attract more?
I think that I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would think that you could do a second Kickstarter and offer like a basic version and a fancier version, and also have a tier where they could get book one with like the fancier version if they want to. And I'm just talking about like sprayed edges, gold foil on the cover. You know, you don't have to go crazy with it. One or the other or both. And then you would have both versions that you could sell in that Kickstarter and on your store and, you know, at signings or whatever, if that's something that you end up doing. I just wonder, I think that, I don't know, it's tough. Like it's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other kind of situation where it's like you could do the omnibus and attract a different kind of person, but you could also alienate the people who backed your first Kickstarter and are now like, wait, now you get book 1 and 2 together and I have to pay more for it if I want both. You know, like you could do a smaller Kickstarter for book 2 with the knowledge that you're not going to make a crazy amount of money on it. And then you could do like a super fan and look at that as seed money for a super fancy Kickstarter for like an omnibus version of books 1 and 2 together. Is it just the 2 books? Are you planning on a third book?
At my age, you don't make those kind of plans. So I'm thinking just stopping at the 2.
Okay.
I answer all of the questions at the end of book 2. So there wouldn't be a need for a third one.
You might want to also search Kickstarter and the Kickstarter for Authors Facebook page for duology. I've seen a lot of different people doing what they call duologies, which is like books 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that might give you some ideas for ways that they've structured it that might give you some options.
Okay. Now, one other question, and then I'll be done. The timing between finishing your series and then offering the omnibus. Is there a time span that you need to have, or can you put them like book 1, book 2, and omnibus fairly close together without any problem?
I think that if you were to do an omnibus, that Kickstarter would prevent you, unless you were doing like a fancier version of the omnibus, right? That potentially includes maybe some extra content. And then like you could do, like a fancy version of the omnibus. And as long as you're demonstrating that it's like a new product with new features and potentially content or whatever, then I think Kickstarter would be okay with it. As far as the audience goes, I don't know, that's hard to say. Like I don't have enough data to say that one way or another. I would imagine that there are different buyers for paperbacks and for hardcovers. That would be my guess.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you. I appreciate the input.
Thank you, Richard. Corey, before I'm going to give you the mic, I just wanted to share with you something interesting that I've been doing. It's not related to Kickstarter, but I do want to just share because I think it can be useful and I think it's going to grow in the future. This week, I've experimented with 11 Labs. Are you guys familiar with 11 Labs? Yeah, the AI voice cloning. It's been, in the past, I uploaded my voice, but the recording was not great. Now I went to a friend who has a proper studio. It's amazing what it can do. And I think that in the future, I'm not necessarily thinking about audiobooks. I'm thinking about like social media stuff, did you know segments, stuff that is related to like, I think that there's going to be much of that in the future, and I would like to encourage all of you to lean into it. I'm seeing that it's growing and growing by the month as far as applications. Good. Corey, the mic is yours. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, so I did my own sprayed edges for my previous campaign because I was ordering from Mixum because they were the only ones who would do the flip flop and they don't do sprayed edges. So I did it in my backyard. I only had like 12 to do, so it wasn't crazy. And I just had a friend come over and we, had some fun with it. But it was kind of a pain in the ass and they like didn't come out great. So that's supposed to be like a mountain range. It looks okay. It doesn't look great. Here's another version. Also, this one's like my really beat up copy, but that also doesn't look great. And the like you they I think I did 2 layers of paint. It's a whole process. You need to, and there's plenty of YouTube videos that'll show you how to do it. But you tape up the covers just like you did with like your school books when you were young, So you need a bunch of paper to tape up your covers. You'll need either like clamps or bricks or something heavy to kind of put them together. You really, depending on how much pressure you're able to exert, you probably won't be able to do more than like 3 at a time and they'll need quite a while to dry. And I got a little bit of bleeding onto the page itself. I don't think you'll be able to see it here, but there's just a tiny bit of bleeding that I don't really see with the more professional version, which is much sharper. So I would say that if you are going to do your own sprayed edges, like be prepared that it'll be a multi-day project, most likely. Like you will probably need to spray and then let them, dry for 6, 12, 24 hours, and then maybe spray again. And there's also the whole process of wrapping the books, which takes a fair amount of time. And if you're trying to put some sort of design on there, then that can be a hassle as well. So if you're going to do it on your own, I would recommend just doing a single color. And that looks totally fine and people like that. But some people like the fancier sprayed edges. So that's kind of my sprayed edges corner. I obviously did not choose to do it again because I was like, this is too much of a pain. And I can create a better product if I have the professionals do it. So that was kind of where I came down.
Yeah, I kind of came to the same conclusions. I watched a bunch of the sprayed edge videos where they were using the stencils. And yeah, you're right. It's very difficult to make it look as professional as Book Vault does with just the use of spray paint and stencils.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of difference.
Look at the difference. Yeah.
But with that said, there were some really interesting videos on how to not only do your own sprayed edges, but how to do your own foil.
Interesting. Yeah. That's really good to know, Corey. I think it definitely makes me a little bit more sober about. I was just like, oh, we're just done.
Done. Yeah, I mean, if you're just doing a single color, if that's what your intention is, then I think you could totally do it. And also you want to, if you have the space and the tools, you don't need much. I used bricks instead of clamps, but like you'll need some place where you can leave them for a few hours. And you also want to consider the weather. Like if it's super hot, it doesn't work very well, like the paint will melt. So just something to consider.
That's great. That's great. Any other thing you'd like to share, Corey, or anyone else? I want to thank us all for coming here today, showing our commitment to our projects. This is a long haul. This is a long run, not a sprint, but a marathon that we are all on. And I just want to acknowledge that having this group really means a lot to me every week. Next week, I have a feeling like there will be a bunch of us wanting to share. I think I'll have a video that I want to share. I hope that people will be sharing more. Maybe Rachel will have her page up. Yeah, I'm just excited about next week. I want to thank you so much. And unless someone has anything else to add, we'll send ourselves off for a beautiful weekend. Richard, do you want to add anything?
I was just
Well,
gonna
the
say,
only
is
thing
there
I do have is I created some end papers, and if we've got the time, it'll just take me a minute to share the screen and just get your input on what you think, if it's a suitable end paper.
It's all yours.
Okie dokie.
While you're sharing, we're going to answer Rachel's question. I'm not sure if that's the question, Rachel. Tell us if it is. We meet every week at this time, same place, same link. Great. And if you can stay, maybe, Rachel, until the very end, I'll take your phone number so I can add you to the group.
Okay.
So go ahead, Richard, share with us. We can see it on the
Well, that's one I've created for the second book. I also have the same one, a little similar one for the first book, but I just didn't know if it was too much.
It looks stunning, but is this going to be is she going to be folded in the middle of her face?
Well, all end papers are folded in the middle, and I didn't know where else to put her but the middle.
I wouldn't put her in the middle.
Hugh Hefner folded them for years without a problem.
I'm just
I would agree, Richard. I think that you could take that out, and I think the like artistic nature of the other part of the design makes her look sort of like I don't know. She looks out of place there in the center. I think it would look better because you want to think of each end paper as an individual page, not as like a spread, I guess.
So you're saying it would work well without her in it?
I think so.
I mean, it's easy enough to do. I mean, it was an awful lot of work to put her in the middle.
I agree that without you don't need her in there because it does feel she does feel a little out of place. I agree with that.
Well, that's why I didn't put any other human characters in it, because I couldn't make it look right with the creatures, and because these are all characters in the book. And each one of them, they're all sentient creatures. They all have a human form. So you think because it folds in the middle, you should not have anything important in the middle.
Yep. That's what I would say.
Good.
Good. So everyone have their commitments for next week being written in the chat. Rachel, if you're still driving, I'm going to remain with you for a minute. Good. Everyone wrote. Great. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Same place, same time.
Thanks. Bye.